got a healing power built right in your soul. You've got a healing power ready to unfold. You've got a miracle waiting in your soul. You've got a healing power built right in your soul. You've got a healing power ready to unfold. You've got a healing power. You've got a healing power. You've got a miracle waiting in your soul. You've got a healing.
Friends, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just become aware in this moment of your breath. Become aware of the stillness and the silence that is here and now. This intentional moment of stillness. Silence only interrupted by the sound of breath. We come together to give thanks and to celebrate that incredible power and presence of life. That presence which we call God, absolute good and unconditional love. Present everywhere, fully, in every moment. But pausing here in this stillness and in this silence, we shift our awareness, bringing our full attention and intention inward. That spiritual journey to the depths of our own being, to find that place in consciousness where there is a divine spark of the divine. That place where the Christ shows up in us. That place of unlimited possibility, unlimited potential. That place that is the eternal life, presence of us in spirit. Living from this place, this presence, this Christ energy of being is the place where healing is available. That place of purity, of peace, of unconditional love, just waiting to be unleashed in our lives. And the only requirement is to use right thoughts, right words, and right actions. That we might be healed in spirit. Knowing that curing the flesh is sometimes difficult to do. but knowing our wholeness, lighting up that presence of Christ in us makes all things possible. All things. Christ in you, your hope of glory. And so with attention and intention, let's pause for just a moment and commune here in this beloved inner space with that divine spark. Let us sit here for a moment in the stillness and in the silence with that individualized spark of the divine. I use uplifting thoughts, words, and actions to support my healing. I am healed and I am whole, for I am one with the One. I must know myself as whole in spirit before the manifestation comes forth. And so with intention and attention, I use uplifting words, thoughts, and actions to support my healing. And so as it's comfortable and as you are ready, bring this promise of wholeness, this awareness of Christ in you into this present moment and into this space where we are gathered. With a commitment for words and thoughts and actions that support your healing. For when we know that we are one with the One, we know we are love. I am love. Say that with me. I am love. And so it is, and so we let it be.
power built right in my soul. I've got a healing power ready to unfold. I've got a healing power. I've got a healing power. I've got a miracle waiting in my soul. You've got a healing power built right in your soul. You've got a healing power ready to unfold. You've got a healing power. You've got a healing power. You've got a miracle waiting in your soul. Let's do we. We've got a healing power built right in our souls. We've got a healing power ready to unfold. We've got a healing power. We've got a healing power. We've got a miracle waiting in our souls. I've got a healing power. You've got a healing power. We've got a miracle waiting in our souls. I've got a healing power. You've got a healing power. We've got a miracle waiting in our souls.
We have used that cable multiple times and it's worked. But hey, happy Sunday, friends. It's times like this that I like, why isn't my message today on forgiveness or on error or, but instead, closer than breath. Anybody want to guess? Closer than breath. This is the first in a series on prayer. See, here at Unity, if you don't remember or you're new, Eric Butterworth said that we do not pray to God. We pray from an awareness of the presence of God in our lives. Because God is absolute, unchanging, absolute, unchanging good. And so to pray for God to change, well, that's kind of ridiculous, huh? Because God just can't change. God is this unfolding presence of power, of life, of love, of intelligence, showing up to be channeled through our lives. And the truth is there is no place that God is not. No place that God is not. But in order for that absolute good, that unconditional love to come forth into this playground planet Earth, well, we have to do our work. Because has anybody seen some places in the world today where it does not look like it is absolute good? Last week, Charlie, thank you so much for speaking last week. I have not had a chance yet to listen, but I had so many compliments on your talk last week. So awesome. I was the guest speaker in Fairfax, had a lovely visit up there. And Russell and Anthony took me into D.C. and I did see military personnel. They were not armed. They were gardening. Well, they weren't. They were just walking around, kind of wondering, "What are we doing here? What are we doing here?" And we kind of wondered what they were doing there too, because where we were in D.C., there was really, the only bad thing happened was people were getting mad that that their drinks weren't strong enough. So I just I still am not imbibing, but it was fun to be out and fun to be around things, and yet we often see a misuse of our gifts of intelligence, of power, of zeal, of will, when we don't take time to honor the power and the presence that is everywhere present. And so that's the thing. It's closer than breath means that we have to pause for a moment. We have to bring our attention and our awareness to the presence of God, to the presence of that divine spark in us, that thing that we call the Christ. And this shows up not just in Christian scriptures, right? And we know, like in Acts 17, we can read, "In him we live and move and have our being." In him, in this incredible playground planet Earth, we are walking around in the very midst of the ether of God. It also shows up in our Hebrew scriptures. It shows up in Deuteronomy. The word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart for you to observe. The word, the logos, the presence and the power. The essence of love is in your heart for you to observe. We got to look. The Upanishads, the Hindu tradition, their holy scripture says, "Closer is he than breathing and nearer than hands and feet." So this isn't just like something that was made up by the Fillmores or anyone other, Christian mystic that showed up in the world. This shows up across spiritual traditions, and that like makes me go, "Oh, this really must be true." This shows up closer than breath. Even in the Quran says we are closer to them than their jugular vein. And so we have this idea of prayer, and most of us in this Judeo-Christian society that we've grown up in have this idea that prayer is about calling out to some power and presence out there in the sky someplace. Anybody ever believe that? Maybe some people still do. Maybe people in your family still do. Your friends do. It's calling on this far off God for some form of awakening, pleading, supplicating, change this. And the truth is that God is far out there someplace. And sometimes we need a prayer of support, a prayer of supplication to reach out there and ask, to beg, to plead, because that's where we are in consciousness. Because sometimes in consciousness, we feel like life is happening to us and we are being punished. Especially when the appearances here in Playground Planet Earth hurt. Scare us. Does that happen to anybody? But the truth is that even though God is out there, because God has to be out there, because God is everywhere equally present. And you don't have to plead and pray to the God that's out there in the universe someplace. You can turn within to this magnificence, power, and presence, to this incredible experience of love that is internal. There's an old tract that Unity printed many years ago. I'm not even sure when, but it was called Redeeming Prayer. And it says this: perhaps the simplest definition of prayer is that it is communion between God and man. Communion signifies union. Prayer is that moment where we seek to understand and embody this oneness, to be fully present to that spark of divinity that's in consciousness, not in our bodies someplace, but in this, in the narrow confines of what we understand as who we are in consciousness. So I think I'm feeling that I need to make sure that everyone understands that in consciousness there are three levels. There is the subconscious, that which we are really unaware of until we really do our work and really get clear on, what are these controlling thoughts, beliefs, ideas, many of which were handed to us that no longer serve us, but were given to us as young people that we have placed our faith in. That is the subconscious, and then we have the conscious, that which we are aware of. Those thoughts that run across that screen of our mind where we can recognize that we're having those thoughts. And then there is the superconsciousness. And the superconsciousness is that place in divine mind that is all wisdom, all knowledge. That is the place where if you expand enough into the superconsciousness that you know that you are one with the one. That's that place where you seemingly have this intuition and you know things. But there is no reason why you should know the things you know. Who's had that? Who's had that? There are a lot of you. Some of you don't want to raise your hand because you're like, I don't need people to know that I know things. It's true. I know, y'all. It's the place where no secrets exist. It's the place where we truly can embody love showing up in the world. And so this subconscious realm is really, when we go into prayer, sometimes that prayer can be, show me what's going on down here that I can't really clearly see. Let me find those places of lack, of limitation, of a faith that is doubt, that is limited, is believing in separateness. Show me that so that I might bring it into the light, that I might heal it, that I might know that this place of separation is keeping me from my healing, keeping me away from my wholeness. That is the truth of who we are. See, we in consciousness already have a divine connection. This is the one thing that never made sense to me. When as I was the young child visiting the Pentecostal Holiness Church and the Baptist Church, and all the other churches I visited as a child, and you had to accept Jesus into your heart. And I was like, Jesus is already in my heart. The Christ of my being is already here. And I didn't have words for that as a youngster. See, I don't believe that we have to accept into our hearts because it's already there. That is a limited language that is based on separation. If we know that there is only one, when we expand our consciousness enough to the Spirit of the Lord, of the law, then we know that there's only one. And so the Christ is not missing. The only thing missing is our awareness and our attention. And so we bring our attention and our awareness, and we are filled. We are filled. It's like this incredible vase. Is it empty? It's filled with the presence of God. Already. All we have to do in order to shift anything is like pouring water into a vase. It's bringing our attention and our awareness into what is here, what is already present. Because the water, our awareness, it's made up of oxygen too, with some hydrogen. That gets into the science of it, and you'll have to ask Susie about that. But when we pour our awareness into that seeming emptiness in our consciousness, we become aware of the power and the presence, of the will, of the zeal. We become aware of the infinite potential that is available to us. And how often do we just sit around with all the other vases in our lives that appear to be empty, and we don't do anything to cultivate the awareness. We don't bring our attention. See, I have all these vases that look alike, and I had to use different ones because, our spacesuits are vastly different, aren't they? They are wonderfully different, but that space within is filled with the same ether, the same power, the same presence. And we must fill it with our awareness so that we can be clear of our connection. Because each one of us has our own unique, individualized connection with the divine that is giving direction to you on how to be and show up in this playground of planet Earth. I mean, can you imagine how this world would be if everyone had the same connection as me? Everyone would be funny, but all the chairs would be in alignment. But your house would be really, really cluttered. And you'd probably need to go home today and vacuum. It's true. Thank goodness we all have this individualized divine connection that is saying this is how you show up as love in this world. And so prayer is not to say, God, change this stuff in the world. Prayer is to say, help me. Let me be connected, and how can I see who I am to be in this place? Who are you in me? Who is God in you? Who is Christ in you calling out for you to be? Do you know? Do you know? And who it was yesterday might not be who it is today or tomorrow or the day after that. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but life is constantly in flux. Life is constantly in flux. And if there is one thing that I know that is, even though God is unchanging good, absolute in nature, we are not. We change, we evolve, and who I was yesterday is not who I am today. And who you are today is not who you were yesterday or last week or last year. And with enough attention placed into that openness, enough awareness poured into that container of substance in potential in you, you get to cultivate all kinds of things. I got the most colorful bouquet I could because I wanted to showcase, like, do we know what all these colors represent? Come on, say it out loud together. The 12 powers. Thank you all. For those of you that might not be as familiar with Unity, Unity has this belief system that there are 12 faculties of consciousness, the 12 powers of humankind, that as we learn how to activate them, how we learn how to dictate and direct them, as we learn how to actualize them in our lives, that we awaken to the Christ of who we are. And if you'll look through scriptures, the Christian Hebrew scriptures, you'll see that 12 shows up over and over again. 12 is about spiritual completion. And so just as Jesus, our way shower, directed his 12 disciples, we have these 12 faculties of consciousness that we direct and awaken to being the presence of love, to being both healed and healers, to being both fully human and fully divine in expression, that potential which is available to us as we learn how to do this. And so, bringing our attention and our awareness allows us to get clear on what are these faculties in my life? How do I use these faculties? How am I using my will today? Am I aligning it with the truth of my being, that Christ presence in me? Or am I using my limited thoughts, the ideas and beliefs that are still hidden down there in the subconscious, where I want everything to be my way? And some days it will be one way and the next day it might be the other, because we are constantly in flux. And sometimes we remember who we are, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't. I didn't remember this week when I was standing in line at a store to buy something, and they had one register open, and I was telling all kinds of stories in my head. Y'all ever done that? You were in the same line? Yeah. Whew. Yeah, and then you know, I can either curse people or I can bless them. And unfortunately, there are days that I choose cursing, because I'm still evolving. I'm still learning how to show up and always be who I believe myself to be in the Spirit, from when I take that time, when I take that moment to pray. To pray. And we some of us have it memorized and recited our 5 principles today. I couldn't get them up on the screen fast enough. The third principle, no, the fourth principle, prayer and meditation, essential elements of the spiritual life. We pray and we meditate, and so many. I've heard so many times that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening, and I don't believe that to be true for me. I believe that prayer is aligning myself with the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God that is you, that is prayer. Meditation is the training that we do so that we can hear God, because in prayer, see, listening and talking to is dualistic. And if there's only one, there's no talking to and listening. There is only sitting in the presence and knowing. And so meditation is our training ground to get clear on the chatter that goes on in our heads. Anybody have chatter in your heads? Some of you have one little voice in the back of your head. I have it's like everyone that has ever sang in a choir back there that makes a lot of noise sometimes. And so I truly have to take time and sit in stillness, in silence, to meditate, not in prayer, but in meditation, so that I can learn to drop out all of these voices and all of these ideas that do not serve, so that I can be present and hear and know and feel the truth of the indwelling Christ. And so if you're not meditating, if you're not taking time in the silence, I'm going to fortune tell and use my psychic abilities and say that you're going to be hearing some things that you believe are true that are based on appearances in the world and not based on the truth. Truth is unchanging. The manifest world shows up with all kinds of facts and statistics and I've talked about before, sometimes what is factual changes over time because it used to be a fact that the world was flat, until science proved otherwise. It used to be a fact that everything in the universe circled the earth. Did y'all know? Did you remember that? Y'all are old enough for that? I'm kidding. We know that from the history of science. So everything is in flux. Everything is moving. Even all of these thoughts and ideas that are showing up in our ego, our mind, that which has kept us very safe, for the most part, in this manifest world. But still, that is limited. And so when we turn over, we let go of the ego and we live in the truth of who we are, that divine presence as us, then we know that God is and that I am closer than breath because there's only one. There is only one. Divine mind is always present, and our prayer simply reminds us that we are one with the one. That it is present, that we are one, and so that we bring our full intention, attention, awareness to here and now. We bring our full attention and awareness to possibility, to unlimited potentials of love, of light. We open ourselves up to wisdom that exceeds our earthly experience. And then we are guided into right action. Action that delivers justice in a world that's crying out for justice. Allowing us to be the presence of peace in a world that is crying out for peace. Allowing us to stand firmly in place. And say, I am. I am one with the one. And I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. This was what I was guided to share today, and I pray it blesses you. Thank you, friends.
Let us sing this beautiful song by Daniel Nahmod, When I Pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, my soul, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Let's do love. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my